Well, that was fantastic. I was just in the middle of debunking ships over the horizon and hit the wrong button, and so the camera stopped. So I'll just get back to it. I was just talking about perspective and how things appear to set bottom first due to elevation and where your horizon is. And I realise now that by restarting this, I've only got 12 minutes left on this particular storage device, so I'll get on to number 3. Varying star constellations. This observation was originally made by Aristotle, who declared the Earth was round, judging from the different constellations one sees while moving away from the equator. After returning from a trip to Egypt, Aristotle noted that there are stars seen in Egypt and Cyprus which are not seen in the northerly regions. This phenomenon can only be explained if humans are viewing the stars from a round surface. Right. Aristotle continued and claimed that the sphere of the Earth is of no great size, for otherwise the effect is so slight a change of place would not be quickly apparent. The further you go from the equator, the further the known constellations go towards the horizon and are replaced by different stars. This would not happen if the world was flat. Blatant lie. No understanding of perspective and the way things work. When you are near to them, you can see them. As you get further away, they will shrink down, down, down towards your vanishing point until you can no longer see them, and you can see different ones in that location. It does not mean you are on a round spinning ball going around the sun. Now, if we were going around the sun, what you see tonight would be 100% different from the stars you would see in 6 months' time at night, looking a completely different direction from 380 million miles away on the other side of the sun, looking 180 degrees the other direction. But we see the exact same stars in the exact same place every night of the year. Now, they do spin around. That's obviously true, but it doesn't mean that we're on a ball spinning around the sun. Shadows and sticks. If you stick a stick in the sticky ground, it will produce a shadow. The shadow moves as time passes, which is the principle for ancient shadow clocks. Sundials we call them. If the world had been flat, then 2 sticks in different locations would produce the same shadow. Now that is ridiculous. Under a single light bulb, stand 2 batteries up, they're going to have 2 different shadows. The sun is constantly moving around us. So of course, 2 sticks in 2 different places at the same time will produce different length shadows. That does not prove sphericity for 1 second. It's another nonsense claim, easily debunked. I'm not even going to bother reading the whole one of that because it's ridiculous. I've done a whole video ridiculing Eratosthenes' experiments. How can you do an experiment in 2 different places at the same time in ancient Greece, 500 miles apart? First of all, did they even know what a mile is? Second of all, did they even know what day it is? Did they have a Gregorian calendar? Were they measuring it exactly 365 and a quarter days per year, so they knew that the solstice of one year, being the 22nd of December, is still the 22nd of December next year? Or did they just make observations of the sun and realise, oh, the sun has risen 3 days after it's died on the solstice? They didn't even have calendars. They didn't have instant communication. How could you possibly know you're measuring shadows on the same day? Let alone the distances between each place. Days of camel trips, estimate 500 miles. Did they have miles? That's my question. Did they have instant communication? What measurements did they use? Inches and miles? And yet, modern science, to this day, uses Eratosthenes' proof of spherical Earth. That is not science. Seeing further from higher. Standing in a flat plateau, you look ahead of you towards the horizon. You strain your eyes and take out your favourite binoculars and stare through them, as far as your eyes, with the help of binocular lenses, can see. Then you climb up the closest tree, the higher the better. Just be careful not to drop those binoculars and break their lenses. Come on, this is science. Then look again, strain your eyes, stare through the binoculars out to the horizon. The higher up, the further you will see. Usually we tend to relate this to earthly obstacles, like the fact we have houses or other trees obstructing our vision on the ground, and climbing upwards we have a clear view. But that's not the true reason. Even if you would have a completely clear plateau with no obstacles between you and the horizon, you would see much farther from greater height than you would on the ground. This phenomenon is caused by the curvature of the Earth as well, and would not happen if the Earth was flat. And here's a picture. See, because if you go up high on a flat Earth, you look down. No, you'd be looking out here. Of course you'd see much further round. It's okay, so he's looking here. That's his limit of view. Here. And if that was actually the Earth, this guy here would be about 500,000 feet up. but let's just ignore that. Let's just ignore that because this is science here. But apparently, on a flat Earth, as you go high, you still only look down. That's the most ridiculous argument I've ever seen. Ride a plane. If you've ever taken a trip out of the country, specifically long distance trips, you would notice two interesting facts about planes and the Earth. Planes can travel in a relatively straight line in a very long time and not fall off any edges. They also circle the Earth without stopping. Wow, well I can circle a block without stopping. If you look out the window on a transatlantic flight, you can most of the time see the curvature of the Earth in the horizon. The best view of the curvature used to be on the Concorde, but that plane's long gone. I can't wait seeing the pictures from the new plane Virgin Galactic. The horizon should look absolutely curved, as it actually is from a distance. There you go. So in the near future, in this imaginary world, and in the distant past, in the imaginary world, we could see the curve, but you can't do it today. Very simple. To circumnavigate something, what are you using to guide you? A compass. Where do compasses point? North. North being the centre of the Earth. No matter how big your circle is, if you're travelling east, you're going anti-clockwise around the northern centre. If you're going west, you're going clockwise around the northern centre. And anybody who's tried travelling further south ends up hitting severe weather, massive oceans, huge ice walls, uninhabitable, uncrossable, no food, no water, massive ice plains with massive mountains bigger than any others in any other part of the world, making it virtually impossible to cross Antarctica. So we are contained within the centre of our part of the known existence of the flat plane, and there are known to be other continents beyond there. Admiral Byrd has even claimed to have found one of them beyond the South Pole. Look at other planets. Well, again, looking at billiard balls on a table doesn't prove that the table's round. Should I even bother reading this one? The Earth is different from other planets, that much is true. After all, we have life and we haven't found any other planets with life yet. However, there are certain characteristics all planets have, and it will be quite logical to assume that if all planets behave a certain way or show certain characteristics, especially if those planets are in different places or were created under different circumstances, our planet is the same. In other words, if so many planets that were created in different locations under different circumstances that show the same property, it's like that our own planet has the same property as well. Bullshit. Proves nothing of the sort. All you're seeing is shimmering lights in the sky. You don't even know that they're planets. You go to one, walk on it, measure it, take some pictures. Okay, I'll change my mind. But all those things that NASA have shown us are fake. Fake images, CGI, cartoons, no evidence whatsoever of other planets. Even a friggin' light. I don't know if this will show up here, but when I've taken video of it before, that's a fluorescent tube. It shows up on video as being a sphere. That's what lights will do from a distance. You can get a massive tall flame, film it from a distance, and will appear to be a ball of light. That's how lights react from a distance. In 1610, Galileo Galilei observed the moons of Jupiter rotating around it. He saw dots in the sky appearing to do something like that, maybe. He described them as small planets orbiting a larger planet, a description and observation that was very difficult for the Church to accept as it challenged the geocentric model where everything was supposed to revolve around the Earth. This observation also showed that the planets... See, nobody says revolve around the Earth. We say revolve above the Earth, not around it. This observation also showed that the planets, Jupiter, Neptune and later Venus, was observed too, are all spherical and all orbit the Sun. Well, it doesn't show anything of the sort. A flat planet, ours or any other planet, would be such an incredible observation that it would pretty much go against everything we know about how planets form and behave. So, we see a round light in the sky and we assume it's a planet, and we think that Earth is also one of these things orbiting in the sky, even though no evidence has ever shown any movement whatsoever. There's been no change in parallax of the stars. The wandering stars are just other orbs that don't stay in their familiar places in the heavens. Let's go to the existence of time zones. Well, that's very simple. Earth is a big disk. The sun moves above us. Wherever the sun is in this 3-hour divided period, that's where it's noon, more or less. And then when it's far enough away so that we're calling it 3 p.m. here, where it is now over there is noon local time. Time zones easily explained on the flat disk. It's a 24-hour clock face. The sun is the hour hand, and it takes 24 hours to get back to where it started. If, on the other hand, we're on a ball spinning around, giving the appearance of the sun, or when we're on the other side of the sun, we'd be facing it at midnight, because there's 24 hours in each and every day as measured with clocks. So, time zones, centre of gravity. There's an interesting fact about mass. It attracts things to it. The force of attraction, gravity. Okay. Again, they're using a totally false model to show what causes gravity. If you drill two holes a mile apart, a mile deep, and join them together at the bottom, thinking that they're going towards the centre of gravity, you'd be wrong. They become a mile, 8 inches apart at the bottom. Earth gets bigger further down, as proven by science. So, again, bullshit from people who've done no research. Let's see if I can fit the last one in before I run out of time. Images from space. In the past 60 years of space exploration, we've launched satellites, bullshit, probes, bullshit, and people to space, bullshit. Some of them got back, some of them still float through the solar system, and almost beyond it, and transmit amazing images over to our receivers on Earth, bullshit. In all of the photos, the Earth is, wait for it, spherical. CGI? Cartoons? Paintings? The curvature of the Earth is also visible in the many, many, many photos snapped by astronauts on the International Space Station. You can see a recent example from ISS Commander Scott Kelly's Instagram right here. And here's a picture. Now tell me, does that look real to you? Does that look real? What sort of amazing photographic equipment did he use to get all those lights to appear at the same time while the entire Earth is dark and yet still the clouds are illuminated with some beautiful Earth glow in the middle of the night? It's a totally fake picture, and any curvature exhibited is fish eye lens. You know what they say, a picture is worth 1,000 diss tracks. Muriel Schottlander is a software engineer at Wikimedia Foundation. This article was originally posted on her Smarter Than That blog in 2008. Well, Muriel, you're full of shit. Not one of those things proved sphericity. Each one of them works on a flat world better than it does on a spinning ball going around the sun, while the sun is shooting through space at 750,000 miles an hour. Earth isn't moving, Earth is flat, and that is that. See ya.